Hi, I'm here today to introduce you to a strengths-based philosophy. My whole goal is to help others understand the basis of strengths and how you can use that to turn your life around. It actually turned my life around, and I'm very passionate for that very reason. So, what this page is about is it's about ways that you can learn more about yourself. What matters most is how well you know yourself. Because if you can control and understand what it is that you do, and most importantly, what it is that you do best, you can be highly successful in life. So, what I'd like to ask for you to do is to make an investment in yourself. Not a large one, a small one. Matter of fact, $20 or less. It's for the purchase of a book. It would be a reference book for you. It's called Strength Finders 2.0. Again, Strength Finders 2.0 by Tom Rath. That's spelled Rath. You can find it at any bookstore in the business section, or if you want, go to Amazon.com and order it from there. But please make sure you order a new copy of the book. What's most important about the book is inside there is a computer code that allows you to take a Strength Finders test. This test was developed by Donald Clifton and Marcus Buckingham of the Gallup Corporation, and it's been validated and taken by over 5 million people. And what it does is it identifies for you what your top 5 strengths might be out of a list of 34. And what's really interesting is this list looks at strengths in a different way than most people. Most people might say that I have strengths when I work with teams, I have good communication skills. This looks at it in a little deeper sense. For example, it would take a look at how you interact with people, and it would define your strength as one that you build either very deep relationships with people, and thus you have a strength called relator, or you have an ability to make connections with lots of people. A lot of salespeople have this. It's called the WOO, WOO. And that allows you to have lots of relationships, but they may not necessarily be as deep. And then the third type of communication is actually called communication. And it's a skill where you talk to people. So it's like a one to many type of relationship. A lot of trainers, a lot of speakers have that strength. I, for example, have it in my top 5. And that's why I love doing things like this, which is sharing information that I know a lot about and that I think can really help others be a better you. So you would purchase this book, get this computer code, take the assessment, and it will identify for you what your top 5 strengths are. And then what we're going to be doing on this page on Facebook is learning more about each of them and the combinations and what the combinations actually mean for you. And that's what's most important. I mean, people take this for granted, but there are 34 strengths, and they can be in any order. And what you're going to get back is actually a list of your top 5 from 1 through 5. 1 being your most impressive strength, and 5 being number 5. In the fact that there's 34, those 5 could be in any order. There are over 3 million possibilities of what your top 5 strengths could be. That's what I find so fascinating about this, because the reality is that everybody is unique. And once I really learned more about strengths, I recognized the importance of respecting how unique each individual is, and to help them utilize their strengths to be a better you, but also from a personal perspective, by utilizing their strengths, I could be a better me. So this is just, to me, the end all. It was a life-changing point in time when I learned about the strength-based philosophy. And let me give you a quick background on this, because it's kind of an interesting story. It was at the time when I moved from working at United Airlines in corporate training over to the Alliant Credit Union. I had more than 25 years worth of experience in corporate America in the training function. Did a lot of coaching and did a lot of development of training programs for people. And what was happening is that the Alliant Credit Union, which formerly was the United Airlines Employees Credit Union, had separated from the airline and had become its own entity, which it really had to do because the airline at that point in time was going through bankruptcy, and you can't be a financial institution and be associated with bankruptcy. So they separated, created the name Alliant, and started their new company. I applied for a job there as a director of training because what they were trying to do was to figure out how to engage their workforce. What they didn't realize was that by going separate and being their own entity, that they were making their most valuable employees give up the one benefit that they valued most, which was free travel. And let's face it, if you're an airline employee, the main reason you work there is for that benefit of being able to travel for practically nothing to all of those beautiful spots all over the world. And so here was a group of about 250 employees who had that benefit and then all of a sudden lost that benefit. And so they were trying to find something that could replace it that would be valued as much. I found that to be a real challenge because I thought, how good is this strength-based philosophy that it could replace flying benefits, which I knew and understood because I had worked for United for so long, and I had made many trips to wonderful places in the world. And so I took the opportunity and I worked with their employee workforce, their managers, and I taught their managers how to deal and focus with employee based on their strengths instead of their developmental issues. In corporate America, that was really a 180-degree change because at United Airlines, we had always done performance evaluations, but they were always based on, well, here's what you've accomplished, and let's look at these areas for development for next year so that we can establish some goals for you so that you're going to really improve over the next year. And no matter how that conversation was held, it was never a positive one. It was always one that you walked away feeling a little disappointed because you had worked so hard, yet all that was talked about was what was wrong with you and what you needed to do differently. And here I was at Alliant Credit Union, and I was working with the management team, and the whole perspective of performance reviews was changing, where we were looking at what they did best, what the employee did best the whole year, and if they had some areas of weakness, which we all do, how could they use their strengths to address them? Now, in corporate America, it was a little bit different, so I'm going to be very upfront and honest with you and let you know that at Alliant, when I was dealing with the management team and the employees, because we had a contract with Gallup, we actually had all 34 strengths from 1 to 34 for every employee. And so we knew what their top 10 strengths were, and we knew what their bottom 10 weaknesses were, and we could team people up by blending what the needs of a project were based on putting together people who were strong where other people had weaknesses in that area. Fascinating. And as I said, it turned my life around. When I left Alliant, I took my strength coach certification with me, and I've been using it ever since. The book Strength Finders 2.0 is public domain, so anybody can use it. The only disadvantage, as I said, is instead of getting all 34 strengths, all you get are your top 5. But I did want you to know the logic and how this tool is actually used so that you understood the validity of the tool and the fact that big business is paying big money to be able to utilize this to create employee engagement in the workforce. Today, it is said that an employee is only bringing about 20% of themselves to the job because 80% of them is not engaged. Now think about that. 20% of the productivity of a person is all big business is getting. And in most cases, it's not even 20%. It's somewhere in the range of 14 to 16%. I mean, how much more could people do if you had a high engagement factor? And that's really what my goal was, my role and responsibility was at Alliant, was to make sure that the employees were highly engaged in their work and that they felt valued and that they were contributing at the highest level. So this is the very beginning. If you click on the link below and enter your email and your phone address, you're going to get a list of the top 34 strengths from Gallup. And it's online, so the information is available to anyone. But it tells you what your 34 strengths could be, and it lists them and it gives a brief definition of them. So if you want to have a little contest with yourself to see how well you really do know yourself, read through that list and see if you can pick out what you think might be your top 5. I'm not going to ask you to put it in any order because it's going to be difficult. Trust me. They're all wonderful strengths to have, and they're all really valuable, and you want to have them all as number 1, but obviously you can't. So good luck to you, and I hope that you enjoy this, and I look forward to many more discussions about strengths and how you can use them, because what matters most is how well you know yourself. Take care and have a wonderful day.